I remember the details very well. The doctor told me to count down from 100. As I did, the bubblegum-scented anesthesia put me fast to sleep. I barely got past the first 10 counts. I remember laughing a lot, so I hardly was counting down anyway. In this dream, I felt comforted by the atmosphere surrounding me, almost like that same feeling after being at the beach all day, with the warmth of the sun and the static sensation waving through my skin. I was in a dimly lit room, with a round table in the center where a sense of light was. It wasn't a bright light, just a blue tint that provided ambience. I pulled aside a chair and took a seat. Then a young woman approached me, wearing a blue sweater and brown glasses. She had brunette hair and blue bunny ears that belonged on a costume rather than on casual wear. I was in a constant state of tranquility and wonder. She spoke on many valuable moments that life brings, primarily in the sense of purpose. Time felt unreal. Even when I woke up, I had a reversed effect. If real life was a dream.
I don't know if that's the right sound for this.
I guess
I'm gonna make an adjustment.
For however long I stayed at the hospital, I was going through the highs and lows of post-surgery. I rode a wagon to places that provided kids with toys and games to play with. Then I rode it back to my suite. I saw some of my extended family members and was comforted by a support dog for a while. After leaving the hospital, my parents and I would spend half a day at Balboa Park in San Diego. Continuing with life, I would have a handful of these dreams every so often per year. Places would change depending on the meaning of the dream. It would always be a place I cherished, and it would always have her in them as well. It wasn't until 2021 when I had the final dream of that girl and the many things she spoke of.
And so you went into surgery and we sat there and waited.
It was terrifying initially. Then we got comforted by Dr. Levy, and he explained the surgery in a way that we felt at peace and trusting that God would work with him, through him, and do a good job with you, and you would be okay. So, but regardless of that, to see you in that bed with the IV and so little, it was scary. Yeah, it was scary.
I see the doctor come out of surgery, and I remember he had a Coke in his pocket. Mm-hmm. And so I went back in with the doctor, and he said everything came out good, everything's fine. As soon as he starts waking up, we're gonna take him to recovery room. And then Papi walked in. The doctor's like, yeah, everything. So we're like, yes, thank God, everything came out. So that was the challenge, because he did say, you know, just while he's healing, no rough playing, no jumping around, all the things that you love to do. Right now, no roller coasters, don't get on the swings, slides, and that at that age you would really love and enjoy going to the parks and getting on the swings and jumping and the monkey bars. And so that was the challenge, how to keep you entertained, exercised, but not overdo it where you could injure your incision or your skull. So yeah, we stayed in the hospital with you, and shout out to Ronald McDonald's house. They provided food for us at Children's Hospital, so that was quite a blessing that we could go there and and prepare food, use their pantry while you were in the hospital. And that leads to when the first night there, they rolled us in. Actually, it seemed like a little parade because when you were ready to be transported from the post-surgery into your room, Papi's college friend, Sandra and Germán, they came with their children, and they said that they were family, that's why they let them in. And so when the nurses were wheeling you to the room, it was Papi, me, it was like a crowd of people following you. Then we get to your room, and it was a shared room. There was another bed with a little girl, and the little girl had been in that room for the past, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 weeks, almost a month, because she had heart surgery. But by then she was ready to go home, so it was her last night there. When they wheeled you in, then the guest left because they told them, you know, right now he has to rest. And you started waking up a little bit more, and I remember you said, "Mommy, it hurts." And oh, it just broke my heart. So I pressed the button. You already had the IV, so give you more medicine. And then the following day you were still recuperating and still heavily drugged to keep you pain-free so you can recover. They brought a black lab, this huge dog, and they said those are comfort dogs, which was new to me, and they asked for my permission if the dog could cuddle with you, and I'm like, sure. So we do have photos. The dog jumped on the bed and just lay next to you, and with your little hand you were just caressing the dog.
I remember you had a cat toy, and I remember you're obsessed with cats. But yeah, I remember when you were at the hospital, I had to stay with my grandma, which we call Mommy Sonia, you know, so that's like another mommy. And she used to talk about getting you a toy cat. So when you're in the hospital, we got you like a toy animatronic cat that like meowed and purred. It was an orange cat too. It was a cat toy. I was a bit jealous because I was like, that's such a cool cat toy, you know?
I remember when you were going into surgery, you had your polar bear. And didn't you have a cat? It was like King Cat. There's a book called King Cat that he would read. He was obsessed with cats and polar bears. Specifically the Coca-Cola polar bears.
Yeah, those ones are cool.
Right? We had like a mug that was
But
blue.
cats?
Yeah, that's questionable. But the polar bear mug, it had the Coca-Cola symbol and the polar bears drinking the Coca-Cola bottles.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Right? We're boring him.
No, it's not that. I need a Cafe Loco. I haven't
Can you
had
explain
any.
what a Cafe Loco is?
It's just a coffee.
There you have it.
Okay. When we were in... Do I actually need to? Yeah. Okay, when we were in Cancun for our honeymoon a couple weeks ago, there was a coffee shop and it was all inclusive, so we went there a bunch. And for some reason, I kept saying, let's get a Cafe Loco, and it was really just a sugar-free vanilla latte, iced. And so we kept getting a bunch of those, and they're pretty good, so I'm missing it, and that's why I'm tired, I guess. Yeah, but I'll be fine. You don't have to worry about me.
And so her and Tata came over, and she had an Easter basket and a blue bunny. I think the Easter basket was from Tata, and her was the big blue bunny. So you held on to the bunny. And also, if I'm not mistaken, it was another little stuffed animal. I think it was a little cat. A lion. Yes. That was from Ramon and Karen. Yes, it was a prayer lion that they had prayed over it, and then they melded. And yes, I was holding on to the little lion the whole time for you, and it was always by your side before surgery and after surgery. And we still have it. Filled with markers, with Sharpie, because one day you decided to draw on it, but still have it.
Yeah, I regret doing that.
It's okay, you were little.
I don't know
Those are
why I did
memories.
that.
Creative. The little girl left, said goodbye. We were in the room with you for the next 4 nights. You healed pretty quick. It was time to have you walk a little bit more, take you to the playroom, and just monitor your level of pain. But yes, to our surprise, like 1 or 2 days, you were already walking around, and then you walked out of the hospital. Erika and Eriquita, Emily, they were there when we walked out of the hospital and took photos. And yes, and then we brought you back to Temecula, and then Julian, Paco, Paquiris, Juliancito, they came over, and before we knew it, you were running around. It's like, he just had surgery 5 days ago. It's like, Diego, it's like, no running. And so I had to remind you, no running. Remember, you had surgery, so you have to walk, no jumping, no running. But you were already laughing, and once in a while you would get tired easily. You were still recovering, but there was no stopping you, yes. Which is a good thing, but worrisome for us parents to see our little one who just had brain surgery running around not even a week after surgery.
So all memories from all those family gatherings are like, they're all together for me, they're all merged. I don't really have like really clear memories on specific dates. I'm really fond on the idea, on the memory of us just playing around Mami Sonia's house, my grandma, our grandma, and like just chasing the dogs and having fun with that. I also really remember us playing a Club Penguin Diaz game. Well, Grandpa and Grandma were there too. There would always be like ham and the pineapple.
The ham. Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah,
But it was
me
always like
neither.
cold.
Yeah. You know what I did like? The thing we would put paprika on. It was like papa, what do you call that? Like potato salad or something like that. Some kind of salad with like a lot of mayo. And then we would put like paprika. But yeah, it was like a potato salad or some sort of salad. The cockroaches, I don't know why, but this is like one of my favorite memories with my cousins. There were so many cockroaches in Mami Sonia's yard, and we were just like, we had to have fun somehow. So all the adults were talking about something we didn't understand, and we had to find our little place to have fun, or activities. And I remember we just had fun, like, as cockroach exterminators. We would grab rocks and just, I'm not proud of this, but it was really fun when we were kids. We would just go hunt cockroaches, and yeah, that was a fun Christmas time.
What were the Chihuahua killers?
Chihuahua Killers. Well, the Chihuahua Killers, it was a non-profit organization. We would chase the dogs. I'm telling you, it wasn't just, we would have to look for some things to have fun. So I don't even remember it really well, but I think we would just chase the dogs. we had much fun doing that. It was just getting the reactions of the Chihuahuas. Oh yeah, we would go, bah! Yeah, but yeah, like food was memorable there, and so were the animals. Like, we were so annoying to animals, but yeah, it was fun. I also remember us playing with like tiny dinosaur toys, which is one of my oldest memories with this guy.
For some reason, what strikes to me is we had like a talent show in Amici Street. It was like a talent show birthday, and we had a screen set up, and we used to play like YouTube videos on it, and you know, my sister would go and tap dance real quick. And then I would tap dance, you know.
Oh, I love that one. I do remember us, I think we went to the cinema and watched Kung Fu Panda. Not entirely sure. Yeah, but I do remember us visiting McDonald's and getting the Happy Meal Kung Fu Panda toys. It's like, I really remember that. And I also remember a Batman toy you had, where he had like a grappling hook. Do you remember that toy? I remember the piano and the stairs like right next to it. I also remember your yard. Didn't you have like a trampoline, like a como un inflable? What are those called? Yeah, no, like in your yard, your backyard, you had this. I don't know. We used to play there, but I'm not entirely sure what. I don't remember it either, but I just remember there was something fun in the backyard. My sister and we visited for like a whole weekend that one time. And yeah, but I keep on digressing. The baptism, I think it was the same visit where the Kung Fu Panda toy thing happened. I even remember one of you guys ordered like the apples that came in like plastic bag. That was just so funny to me. Anyways, I remember we went to this place and I just saw everybody was getting in the water and I wanted it to. I think I was too young to understand what a baptism was. And I ended up being baptized too with my cousins. So that ended up pretty well. Yeah, we had this big white robes. I don't know if I had those too. I think I just entered the water with my clothes. But yeah, that was fun. And I remember my uncle saying, "Do you want to do it too?" And I was like, "Okay," without having a clue of what it really was. Yeah.
Superman was a lot of fun. We had our Uncle Park dress up as Superman, and my dad was a robber or a thief, and he like had like a bunch of pillows on him to make him look fat, and he was just like rolling around, and my cousin's chihuahuas were attacking my dad because they thought it was a real bad
Really?
guy. And so like my dad was on the
no,
floor
thanks.
and the chihuahuas were attacking him.
That sounds like a good time.
It was a good time. It was at the park right next to
Baby.
Tony Tobin.
I've been there.
He has been there.
The following month, I started the first year of my education. I entered kindergarten. During the fall semester, the school provided going to the pumpkin patch, chasing the gingerbread man, and passing out secret Santas.
Entering elementary school, you were still energetic, you were very funny, you had a very unique sense of humor that I enjoyed a lot, along with being worried about you because you would still go for it and do very energetic things that would expose you. You had a great, unique way of being, your own personality, and you were not trying to be like the other kids, you were not trying to impress the other kids, you were just being you, and that I loved. It was funny. You had a great sense of humor. It was really funny. And it was natural. You didn't force anything, so that's, what was special about that personality.
When Stefan started kindergarten, since he's only 18 months older than you, we went school shopping, and you also picked out a backpack, which I said, fine, that way you could carry your toys. And so when we took him to kindergarten, you also got in line and you started crying because all the kids went in, and I said, say bye to Stefan, and you're like, what? I'm so ready for kindergarten. It's like, no, you have to wait. So then when it was your turn to start kindergarten, which was the same teacher, Mrs. Esparza, you were so excited and so ready and eager to start that the one who cried that day was me, because I was so used to having you in the car with me and always with me. We would go take Titi to school, Stefan to school, and you were with me. I would go to the women's Bible study on Thursday. You were with me. So I remember your kindergarten class was the afternoon class. I dropped you off. You right away got in line. You were so ready to go in. Other kids were crying or they didn't want to stay there, and not you. You're like, bye. See? And you walked in, it's like, okay. And then I looked through the window and you were just ready to be in kindergarten. And so I remember going to the parking lot, and I got in the car and I looked back and saw your empty seat, and I started crying like my baby. So that was kindergarten. And then I was able to, thank God, I was able to volunteer once a week and be with you. So that was fun seeing you socialize, and just your personality, who you are, started to blossom, started to you be you, and I love that about you, that you enjoy books. And it was you and I think 2 or 3 other kids in your classroom that were thumbsuckers. And Mrs. Esparza told me, it's like, it's Diego and the 3 of you would keep an eye on each other and would like to go to the read book area. and sometimes you would even get your little sweater jacket and just cover your thumb or get a book and cover while you suck on your thumb. And she said that she noticed it was a connection with you and the other, I think it was another boy and two other little girls that in private, when no one's looking, would suck their thumb. So it's almost like the four of you got each other's back. And so that was funny. That was cute.
And throughout the fall semester, my eyes were glued to only one show, my favorite animated show of all time, Regular Show. My brother and I were always on schedule. We never missed an episode. We related to these characters a lot, Stefan with Mordecai and I with Rigby. These characters would symbolize our personalities throughout our childhood.
You know, the PlayStation 2 startup sound, that was like such a great memory for me, just the sound of it, like every time we booted it up. You know, it's such a... I didn't even like playing games. Like, my favorite game was like some crossword puzzle game. And I just liked it just because of the sounds it makes. It just sounded so cool. Yeah, it was so cool. Like, yeah, there was some one with like a yellow taxi in a cityscape. Yeah. So they would just have like stock images and then just a crossword puzzle on top of the stock image. And it was like the most boring game ever, but just the way that we played it made it fun. We probably like did really bad on the crosswords too. I didn't know how to spell at that time.
Club Penguin DS. I definitely remember that one. And then I think I also, like, I wanted to get you guys into Pokemon, and I would play that next to you. But I do remember us playing the fishing game in Club Penguin. I also showed you a Fruit Loops video, which was pretty funny. Yeah. Let's not get too much into that. But yeah, it was funny. It was a funny video. But oh yeah, nostalgic video games. Yeah, we played Ratatouille for the Wii, and that game was just amazing. But it got hard for some reason. I think it was a barrel level, right? Or that may have been like the very first one. Again, my memories are all scrambled. Yeah, Ratatouille was a big one for us.
Oh, Video HQ. Now that's a special place.
Ooh.
Is that like a Blockbuster or something?
Yes.
Or Hollywood
This
Video?
is when Blockbuster ended and Video Q went up. And
You know, there was Blockbuster, which I know sounds fake when I say that I grew up with that, because I grew up with like 2 years of it before it died. But, you know, Blockbuster was good. I remember that, you know, walking in and you would see a lot of DVDs with white covers. You're like, okay, what's in here? But Video HQ, why did I say like cure? Like a Chinese word. Video HQ was different because it was like its own establishment in Temecula. And just the way they set up the store was so fantastic. I remember they had the adult section, but then the rest of the movies, you had so many iconic movies like Nine, the movie Nine, just the letter 9, and a lot of like bootleg shark movies like Sharks in Venice. And specifically, I used to love going to the back of the store because it used to be 2 giant like lollipops. They were just props, and they were just 2 giant lollipops. And then in the front, you could also win a Wii, because if you go up every time, you would rent a movie. And I would always rent Goosebumps movies. I was really heavily into Goosebumps movies. Straight to DVD.
we would get the Goosebumps shows because they had them on DVD, the per episode. Do you remember that? But yeah, that's what I remember from Video HQ, really.
So yeah, a lot of little memories like that, you know. But I mostly remember the movie 9, like always passing by, like that looks scary, you know, because of the 9, and it was like in green, it was like glowing. And then yeah, the shark movies. But yeah, that was a cool place.
That was fun. I grew up going to the Blockbuster, and Poppy and I, when we first got married, that was like our thing to do. We were gold members at Blockbuster, remember? And so taking you kids, it was fun because it's like, okay, you choose the movie, you choose your movie. So the three of you will get so excited about choosing a movie. Of course, at home, popcorn or ice cream and a lot of movie nights. We would add that every Wednesday we would go to the Temecula library because on Wednesday, elementary school gets off early, only half day. Pick you up to the library where you would get books, I Spy books. You were into I Spy books. That's why I think you're like so detail oriented. I think it was born with those I Spy books. On their way back, grab a little Caesars, go home, and you kids would pop in your movies and eat your little Caesars pizza. So that's a nice memory, like a thing you kids would do.
Some movies inspire people. Stories, characters, and even settings are all memorable and beloved by many. I could talk about the list of movies that I cherished in kindergarten. Iron Giant, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Prince of Egypt. However, what stuck with me was the films few loved, but the rest of us were ultimately left in brain fog and rarely ever brought up. These movies aren't even the underdogs of the cinematic world. Some people believe they are underappreciated, and others would agree halfway without asking, why do people love these movies? These movies are the ones that left sand in my shoes and dirt in my eyes. I couldn't go without a month thinking about why they exist, and if these movies could have had more than just potential. Some of them had a sense of heart. Some films create a twist to classic movies that are underappreciated. Some tried venturing into an alternative path of fantasy, but lacked relevance. Finally, some tried elevating horror when the genre was tiring for moviegoers. It was near the end of 2010, when my mom, brother, and sister all went to the Video HQ. We would go once a week. My usual was one of the three: Ponyo, The Adventures of Clutch Powers, and any of the Goosebumps home DVDs. I walked past a girl with pigtails. Then I walked back. Orphan. The cover was intimidating, but I wondered, how could a girl look so scary? I was just 5 years old. I'd never imagined such a concept, so I snuck the DVD into the basket my mom was carrying. Later that week, I found my parents and sister watching the movie in the living room. I camped out on a small balcony overlooking the TV downstairs. I made it just in time to watch the Coens adopt Esther. Then I stayed till the credits and snuck back in bed. My underdeveloped mind did not watch the same movie the rest of the world did. The way I saw it, Esther was the victim. I watched as a family adopted Esther, punished her childish behavior, which was appropriate for her age, and blamed her for the fault of her foster parents. Even then, Esther played her cards. She convinced me she did nothing wrong. And that ending? How depressing. Growing up, I believed Isabel Furman played a character surviving the abuse of her foster parents, step-siblings, and school bullies. I later forgot entirely that the Orphan movie existed. It wasn't until 2019 the motion was set in course. The motion that led to this movie playing an integral role in my film. Spring semester rolled around, and the school provided chasing the leprechaun around campus on St. Patrick's Day, and leaving the first year of elementary school hungry for more. Nothing as significant as my brain surgery followed the 2010s. Every 2 years, I would go to the Children's Hospital in San Diego. This was for scheduled MRI scans. One year, my neurologist said I could bring a DVD of my choice. I chose Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I wore a headset and headphones and started my MRI scan. It was a pretty unique experience. In late 2011, I watched YouTube videos off of an old Dell computer with my dad in his office. It ranged from Evian water baby commercials to Fight for Kisses.
Again, one thing that I admired about you was your sense of humor, so I wanted to see you laugh and to see you elaborate on that sense of humor, so I would put what I thought it was funny. You know, commercials that were ridiculous or funny or just weird, that you could find sense of humor behind it, that I would do that.
I was scrolling through the recommended page on YouTube when I came across a video containing graphic stupidity among 4 lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other. Mission Uncomfortable, which later became Impractical Jokers.
Impractical Jokers was just starting. First episode, the promo episode, the first one. And I was going to change the channel, but I just kept it to see what were these guys up to. And then we realized, wow, that's funny. That's a real good show. That's a funny show. Low budget, but it's a great show. And then you guys got hooked. We all did. We took that show and we wouldn't miss it. And that was part of our sense of humor. And your sense of humor. Watching that type of comedy. Reality comedy, maybe?
This show would be the only series I would consistently watch throughout my upbringing. This was my comfort show.
But it was really funny. I think in a way it shaped your personality further. That type of approach to life, to always be laughing, to have a sense of humor, and I think it's very important to it's healthy, right? Be laughing all the time. Be joyful, be happy.
Before we end today's episode, I want to detour and share a compilation of my favorite clips from my childhood. Here's what I pulled to end this episode on a sentimental note.
This is the movie of Diego.
¿Qué quieren? ¿De qué? ¿Pepperoni?
Yes, it's Poopy.
De nada.
It's not the way I go to a pub. It's the way I poop. Look what I can do. I'm Snowy.
Having fun?
Yeah. Hey, Chi-Chi. Hey, Coca-Cola.
Enséñala, hijo.
Look at the snow puppy.
Él está blanco el pasto.
Scalaro paso. Okay.
Go, Diego!
Happy birthday to you and many more.
He's still single.
He's still single, ladies.
I think it's this way. I think it's over here.
No, it came up here.
Can she use this to see in the dark?
Clap, everyone! Clap! Good, Diego!
Happy birthday to Mommy.
Sóplale, hijo,
Sóplale,
sóplale.
hijo, sóplale. Duro. Duro, hijo, sóplale. Fuerte.
Dale, go, Diego,
Fuerte.
go. ¡Bravo! Mordida, mordida. Muerde tu pastel, hijo. Muerde tu pastel.